Tell us first about how the French media have been treating this story.
They have really gone into breaking news mode at this point, simply because these images are so impressive and because this is taking place in what is probably the most iconic part of France, the part of France that every French person, no matter where they're from, knows about. And that, of course, is the Champs-Élysées Avenue, the Arc de Triomphe, this extremely famous stretch in downtown Paris that has literally seen these kinds of scenes, quite violent scenes, taking place for the past couple of weekends. So French media very much focusing on this, what this means for the government, what this means for the movement, and how those who are not protesting, those whom you don't see on these screens, relate to this. And remember that a very recent survey came out basically saying that 2 out of 3 French people support the Yellow Vest movement. But the question is, will they continue to support it after today's events?
And the picture of cars burning in Paris has obviously been taken up by foreign outlets. What's the narrative there?
Well, this, of course, is reminiscent of very different scenes that we have seen taking place in France, in Paris, and in its suburbs not that long ago. But protests or riots, depending on the semantics, of a very different nature for very different reasons, linked to unrest in the suburbs over tensions between locals out there and police forces at times. So foreign outlets, of course, again, because this is the Champs-Élysées. French people know this place very well, but very many foreigners are familiar with this place either because they've seen it on TV and films or because they visit. This is probably one of the most visited spots in the entire world. So foreign media have been keen to try to explain what is happening, but it's very difficult because this was about fuel taxes being hiked, and now it has morphed into something which is a little bit more difficult to analyze. Nonetheless, burning cars on or around the Champs-Élysées always makes for, well, unfortunately, pretty good or impressive, at least, TV. So a lot of focus from foreign media outlets on these scenes.
And just briefly, if you would, it's certainly been an issue as well in this newsroom. We have 4 channels on France 24, and deciding how to cover this protest has been a complicated issue.
Absolutely, because one of the questions has been whether or not the media has blown this out of proportion, and notably the so-called, 24-hour news outlets, which have really been focusing on this movement, again, trying to analyze it and perhaps give a voice to the voiceless, or for others, given too much attention to something which is, well, quite small. Now, this has been going on for several weeks. We've seen these types of protests over the past couple weekends. At this point, the numbers have very much dwindled, and there has to be differences made between the yellow vests and those who are just there to break things. But France 24 very much active in terms of its coverage, analysis, teams deployed on the ground, also relying on folks in different parts of the country and here in the newsroom in order to better understand and better explain what this is about.
Galia, thank you very much. Galia Fenwick there.